Gavin Beaver Podcast. Welcome.
Live.
Well, today is a very special day because it is our buddy's birthday.
Jason,
not because it's 9/11.
birthday. Well, it's actually both.
It's both, yeah.
But it was my birthday.
We're gonna,
first.
yeah, exactly.
That's very true.
Very true. We're going to celebrate one and remember the other.
Yeah, I tell people that. So, right after the event, people were understandably upset, and I ceased rather abruptly to get happy birthday. For several subsequent years, it was people would ask when my birthday was, or it would come up in conversation, and I'd say 9/11, and instead of "Oh, happy birthday," or "Oh, congratulations," it was "Oh my God."
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. And like I said, understandable. But after a while, I found myself thinking, well, you know, it was my birthday first. You know?
Yeah,
It really was.
I was born a long time before the Twin Towers fell. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound insensitive, but...
Yeah, what was that day like for you on our sophomore year in high school when, you know, it's your birthday and this huge, crazy terrorist event happens? Are you like, oh, shit, I guess my party's canceled, or...
If I remember correctly, the day was a Tuesday
Yep,
or a
Tuesday.
Wednesday, something like that, Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
And so nothing was planned until the following week, and I don't think it was anything more than dinner, so there weren't any elaborate plans that needed to be canceled or anything. But I woke up, and it was a day much like this, and everything seemed to be perfectly in order. Obviously, it's Southern California, we're a long way from New York.
So
And,
true, I know, yeah.
It was just kind of a weird dichotomy. Like
Yeah.
even after the news, even after it's on the TV, on the radio, wherever you happen to be,
Yep.
you look outside and you're like, what?
Yeah, I don't, like,
it's
wait,
such a
what's going
completely-
on?
Yeah,
Right.
It's just a weird dichotomy. But I woke up and I usually put on the Dave Shelley and Chainsaw Show.
Oh,
That
right.
It was the first thing I did. I woke up, I clicked that on, and then started getting dressed and brushing my teeth and bugging my sister and doing all those things. And instead of the normal talk show, there was this weird report about planes crashing into buildings and
Right.
a heightened state of alert and the Pentagon under threat and all this. And I thought it was some sort of elaborate skit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it didn't seem real, that's for sure.
It's like these guys are really pushing the envelope this time.
Right? Yeah.
But it's something about it sounded legitimate, like disturbed me. So I went out and I was the first one up. Nobody else was up at that time. And I went and turned on the TV, and every channel was nothing but coverage. And it was between the point where the second tower got hit. So Tower 1 was hit, the second one hadn't been hit yet. Nobody knew what was going on yet.
Right.
But it was every channel was flooded with everything, you know, pertaining to that. So I woke everybody up and said, "You're not going to believe this. Holy God, man!"
Yeah, I just remember waking up and not really knowing exactly what happened. Like, at first you heard, like, oh, a Cessna flew into the into the building, and then it was an airliner, and then there was a second airliner, and then, you know, it was very confusing at first.
Yeah.
And then I remember just getting in class, and then obviously the news is on the TV, and we're just all there watching it. It was very surreal, like when you're first watching it. Now you've seen it over 13 years. You've seen the same footage over and over and over and over and over. So, but when you first saw it, you're just like, "Whoa!" Definitely didn't seem real. It was like
disturbing.
watching a movie.
Very
It was
disturbing.
bizarre.
It was disturbing.
Very bizarre.
And then it looked to be like some sort of very tragic accident. And then I just remember when there was first talk of like, oh, terrorists hit it, then that just took on a whole nother wave of...
Yeah.
For me, it was like complete denial, like, no, absolutely not. Like, that's ridiculous that anyone could do that. But if we are starting out with 9/11 stories, which is totally cool. I was like, well, we should, since we're doing it today, it's also Jason's birthday.
Yeah.
But I'm sure inevitably it comes up all the time when you tell people.
It does. It does. Usually, on the day of, it's usually much more. There are more questions. Let's put it that way. It's like, oh, it's the day of. Oh my God, tell us about it. It has more significance now that it's the actual day of.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still my birthday.
But I was, I got in my car on my way to work and I was listening to Dave Shelley and Chainsaw also. So that was my first. And then that was when they were talking about, I just remember Shelley talking about, like, people falling out of buildings. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then I used to give Wayne a ride to school.
Okay.
And then when I picked him up, he had been watching it all morning, and he was just like, they think terrorists hit the World Trade Center. And then I watched everything from class. And I just remember they told the teachers, like, not to show TV. And I just had this one teacher, Mr. Hill, who was like a lawyer on the side or whatever. And he was just like, this is too important for you guys not to watch. So we're not going to do anything today, but just watch it.
I remember being in class, in history fucking class, And Mr. Welch turns off the goddamn TV and he's like, well, I guess we're going to go do our lessons now. And we're all just like, but what? We're watching history right now. What are you doing? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And, and then sporadically teachers would have it on, and then some people wouldn't. They're just ignoring it until school let out. It was weird.
Talk about irony.
I know. I'm like, dude, this is a history class. Let's watch this.
Yeah. Even like my drama teacher was like, no, you guys can keep watching it. This is
Right,
pretty-
yeah.
How could anyone pay attention to anything,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. If I were a teacher, well, just as a human being, I'd be more curious despite what was going on.
Yeah.
Sadly, I was so naive and had no real clue of what was going on, but I'm like, well, can we leave school now? I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Get out a half day?
Right? National crisis
Yeah.
coming.
You don't know when the next one's coming?
I have this, like, random image of, like, you being at your house, like, that night, and sitting at the table with, like, a birthday cake, but everybody's still watching the TV.
Glued to watching
and
the
you're just
TV.
like, happy birthday, dear Jason. Like, to yourself.
And then you blow out the...
The candle, there were only 2 of them, and they were shaped like the world's flag.
Yeah, and then you just push them over, and you're like, God, fuck this.
Just a weird coincidence.
It's what I asked for 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
You can't say that. We can't hear that now.
Airplane cake.
The NSA is going to be all over.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what?
Somebody's going to burst into a
Rewind
higher level
that,
office.
rewind
Have you guys heard of a thing called cabin fever? Shaking the manila envelope of paper above his head.
Custom-made candles 2 weeks before the event?
There has to be a
Conspiracy
connection.
Or depending on how you feel of it, hey, we can just blame it on this guy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely did not mastermind that. But it was really something. And of course, I think that's all anybody thought of for the next couple of weeks. Certainly that night, nobody watched any kind of Law and Order, Jeopardy, whatever that stuff didn't come on.
Yeah.
It was just all news coverage,
that's right.
especially once the towers collapsed.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, which was the next phase of that was obviously cleanup and recovery and getting people out of the rubble and all that. That's all you heard about for a while.
Yeah. What I was thinking about earlier today was just where the internet was at back then compared to what it is now. And, like, people's still access to information was still mostly on TV.
Yeah.
And just what a different environment I feel like it would be now. I don't know. With access to information and speculations and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I did read a stat on Reddit yesterday, I think it was, that said in 2002, the average time anyone spent on the internet was like, daily was like 26 minutes, or it was either 26 or 46. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one. But nowadays it's like 4 hours. Yeah. It's like completely, in 12 years, like that's where where we're at now.
Right, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, if a big event was to happen like that, immediately people would be on YouTube speculating it was the government did it, or some other country did it, or I mean, there's endless amounts of information out there, and people are going to post it immediately when it happens. So it's like, it's weird. It's a weird thing now. It's much different now. I think the 13 years has changed that much.
Yeah, and then with cell phones and cameras now. I mean,
you have
all the
HD
footage
right on
we've
your
seen,
phone.
like we've seen all the footage, like the footage down below that someone happened to have a camera and caught it. But nowadays, there'd be thousands and thousands of videos.
Oh, that's so true. And everyone would have their own video uploaded, and then that's gonna be crazy.
And people would be picking those videos apart too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
Like-
they've done it in the past with
like
like
the
the Boston bombing. People, I mean, a lot of people they have their own theories about the whole Boston bombing thing. So it's, I don't know, it depends on where you go with it. But yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna have their phone there. I mean, they're gonna bust it out, and everyone did. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Also, something that September 11th brings to mind for me is you, Matt, that comedy skit that you did.
Yes,
every
that's right.
every single
That
time.
was so funny.
Every year.
That was like 5 years after.
It wasn't a too soon moment.
For the record.
I don't think it was too soon. It was just. I remember
Yeah, it was
watching that
perfect.
and being. I was drawn in by it. I was like, "Where's he going to go with this?" And then, is that a plane? And my God.
Yep. Every once in a while, someone will still bring that up too.
Well,
it exists out there.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
I
because
mean
it was
that in a
really
positive
funny,
way.
and that's why people
Yeah.
remember it. You know.
I thought it was
It's
legitimately
awesome.
funny. I mean, it was.
Thank
And you had a guitar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a whole made-up story about
That's
some
awesome.
guy going to play a song.
Do you remember? You want to do it?
No, I'm not going to do it. But
Is it online? It's out there,
still
right?
online somewhere. And the last
What
last
would
place
you search for?
the last
Is it
place
on
it was
YouTube?
on was it was on my MySpace page. I don't even know if that's still around.
Oh no, that thing is.
But it was hosted on there
that
for a
has-
long time.
It's collecting dust right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically I told the audience that there was a musician who died in the towers on 9/11, and this is the last song he ever played, and it was like a 2-minute story about this guy, and I was very serious. And then I was
very
like,
serious.
"Do you guys want me to play it?" And then everyone's like, "Yeah." Slow clap,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
this is where we're going. But this is cool. And I strummed a few chords, and then I was like, "Oh my god, is that a plane?"
I thought it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's very
I spent 2 weeks telling that story over and over and over and over again. So when I knew when I delivered it, people would believe me.
Right, yeah, yeah.
As sad as that was, but
It reminds me of
Yeah.
like something Randy Lidke would do. Like that would be a funny story or little comedy bit he would do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Side note: Randy Lidke from the podcast Bone Zone,
Yeah.
is going to be on Adam Devine's house party.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
So-
Tonight.
Oh, is it tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
tonight.
tonight, midnight.
Yep.
We've talked about him before on the podcast.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
He's a really funny comedian.
Awesome.
Very
Up and coming.
dry one-liner kind of dude.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And he was on Last Comic Standing this season. And he made it a few rounds, the first couple rounds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
his sense of humor is different, not typical. So.
Yeah. Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, the Last Comic Standing, they're looking for a broad appeal, like someone who's just going to do,
Make
everyone's going
everybody
to
laugh.
love them,
Yeah.
not a small amount of people.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Would be
more
drawn
of
to
a-
Randy Lidke's comedic style.
more of like a niche comedian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alternative comedy.
Oh yeah.
Check him out,
yeah.
Randy Lidke, Bone Zone, Brendan Walsh.
Have you ever listened to that? Wait, do you
I
listen to podcasts at all?
Bone Zone.
That's a good
Uh,
question.
From time to time, I've listened to a little bit of Joe Rogan. and,
Oh, okay.
You've listened to the Cabin Fever.
I've listened to a couple episodes of Cabin Fever.
Nice.
But really, that sums up my experience with that sort of thing. I've never really been much of a podcast guy. Not for any particular reason. Some of it's really funny. I just never seem to get around to it.
Yeah. Well, it always starts with one that gets your attention, or they really have some kind. Because there's so many of them,
Yeah.
and
Oh, thank you, sir.
they're all different in subject matter and topics, and
Yeah.
anything you can think of. Usually, it takes one to kind of get you going.
Be
Oh,
hooked-
yeah.
Be hooked by one.
Right.
Yeah, for me, Joe Rogan, and then he has all his comedic buddies on there. They all have their own podcasts that they want to share, and,
Yeah.
and then he and
Yeah, you get a phone call every
oh,
single time.
what's that new car that he got?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what? Snapchat it.
Can I smell it?
Right.
Everybody wants to smell the interior. Of
It
Matt's
did
new
smell
car.
really good when he showed me. So good.
Everyone will get a smell. Line up. Here. Take a smell.
$2.
You want to talk about your new car you got? Are you totally excited about?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Yeah, sell it up now.
Uh,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe Ford will sponsor the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got a new Ford 4-door Focus hatchback. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're gonna go roll some coal on people.
Yeah, it's a good car. It gets 32 miles per gallon. So
It's pretty good.
that's pretty good. Yeah, it was better. Actually, it was between, if anyone's looking for an economical car, I researched them all. Hyundai was one of the best. Ford was like a near second. But I test drove both, and I just like the Ford better.
Yeah.
The Hyundai was really great, though, interior-wise, and drove well.
Is it similar hatchback style?
Hatchback is the one I looked at.
Is it Elantra?
Elantra. Yeah,
Elantra?
that's their. They have a subcompact called the Accent. The next one up is the Elantra,
Okay.
and then it was between those two, and then the Fiesta by Ford and the Focus. And the Focus was obviously a little bit bigger,
Yeah.
and actually got better gas mileage than the Hyundai.
Ooh.
And so yeah, that's what won me over. Plus, I used to drive a Focus, and I drove it for probably 8 years and put tons of miles on it. It was
Yeah.
the best car I
Yeah.
ever had. So
And that was, what, 8 years ago, you said?
Yeah, that car's 11 years old now.
Okay.
I sold it to my sister like 3 years ago.
Well, if you had luck like that with a Ford of that generation, then I would think that a Ford now, brand new, would be probably easily as good, if not better.
Yeah, and technically speaking, it's the same engine, obviously updated quite a bit over the last 11 years, but the base is the same engine, and it's the same one they've used for forever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, regular maintenance and everything, they just keep on running.
Fuck yeah, man. It's awesome.
And I delivered pizza in my old one, that's why I racked up so many miles. But after talking to a few mechanics, they said that actually using it as much as I did keeps the engine in check. You know, it doesn't sit for too long. It doesn't give a chance to, like the oil and the fluids all sit in the engine and actually start to clog it up and everything. It's getting so much regular use, it actually runs like it's supposed to. You really break it in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even on Monday, I'll be driving it up, 12 hours north.
That's right,
So I'm going to be breaking it in like crazy.
Sweet.
Where are you going on Monday?
We're going to get my brother.
Oh, okay.
He's coming home. So,
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So we're road tripping up there and bringing him home. And that's that, yeah.
Awesome.
Wait, you drive, what do you drive?
He's got the
a Honda?
Civic.
Civic?
Yeah. So I've been really happy with it, actually. I still miss my truck. I still shed a tear from now and then. But yeah, I've been really happy with it. It's held up really well. I've never had any problems with it. Actually, that's not entirely accurate. It told me that the gas cap was loose when it clearly was not. And I kept
The car told you that?
The car told me that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gas cap.
Help. Jason.
It spoke to me in sultry tones. No, it projected a message on the dashboard. It's like, this is loose. Fix it. And I said, okay. So the next time I think I was parked somewhere, I got out and I didn't find anything wrong with it, but I twisted it until it clicked a couple times just to be on the safe side and got back in. And the very first thing that it said was, the gas cap is loose. I said, what the hell is your problem? It didn't respond to that, but then the message went away and I never saw it again. So other than that, I haven't had a single problem.
Well, that's not bad.
I mean, it's just a sensor thing, and I mean, it's obviously running off of a computer, so little glitches happen here and there, and then it might reset itself, and you're good to go.
I feel like I'm driving a computer. Actually, everything in there is digital. If there's ever an EMP attack, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
We can be able to drive.
That the same thing with this car.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on
it's
this
a
little
spaceship.
screen and everything, and it's like it's a little intimidating. I'm not used to. I mean, my last car was a 1990.
Yeah.
That barely had a working
Basics of everything.
working speedometer and whatnot.
Buttons were all rudimentary.
Yeah, exactly.
This gas is right.
It's like kind of focused. I'm like, where's the fold-out ashtrays from my last car? I didn't even have to press a button for the window to go down. Actually, in my Trooper, the window didn't even roll down. So,
Well, that's one less thing you have to worry about then.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar experience transitioning from my truck to the Civic. I remember the first time I got into the Civic, I was like,
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody listening to this can see the expression on my face, but
Very wide-eyed.
it was frightened. I hadn't the slightest idea what was going on. I mean, I had barely any experience with powered windows and more functional AC, let alone digital speedometers and things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, you get used to it. Obviously, it's nice having it around, but I just hope that there's not any kind of computer failure because I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that if one thing fails, it's going to be like a string of Christmas lights. 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 other things may fail along the way. So.
Right. Well, like you said,
No
EMP
idea.
stuff. I always think about that too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm keeping my Trooper too, so like, worst
You have
case,
that backup.
it's my apocalypse vehicle, my 4-wheel drive.
Absolutely.
I know, even in my Jeep, I know there's a computer, but it's definitely much less than your guys' obviously. You have newer cars, but so I'm hoping that an EMP attack still happens. I'll
Well, if you
still be able to Jeep around.
Yeah, you probably just need like a new alternator. Or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just put one in the back.
I won't get very far though. It gets like 220 miles to 17 gallons of gas. It's ridiculous.
220 miles you didn't have before.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would get you out to the desert
Yeah.
and then some.
Get with the zombies.
Yeah. What year is your car?
It's 2012.
Oh, okay. So it's still pretty new. Yeah, the new the new Fords have Microsoft Sync in them, so it's all custom tailored to your phone. And they actually at the dealership, if I wanted to, can come take a class on just how to use it because I guess it's pretty forward and kind of complicated thing to use.
Okay.
But because it's linked to my phone and my email, if I want to, I can press a vehicle status report button, and it will send it to my email address, and it'll also send it to the Ford service dealer, so they can look at it and then contact me if anything is amiss, and then to bring it in.
Ooh, technology, that is fucking
I was
awesome.
like,
that is sweet.
That is fucking
That's
crazy.
intense.
Yeah, man.
That kind of interconnectivity is, I mean, like,
It's scary but cool at the same
yeah.
time.
Well, I mean, the future is now.
Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't sound overly cliche.
No, man.
Whenever
So
somebody
true.
tells me something like that, or I walk outside at night in North Park and there's a helicopter hovering overhead, like broadcasting messages and stuff, I think of films like Blade Runner. And
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like, holy
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
this is like happening.
Sure.
I mean, this didn't exist 10 years ago
Yeah.
Right.
at all.
And
really.
10 years ago doesn't seem like that
No.
long ago.
No, it
really
doesn't.
not.
Not.
Yeah,
Not.
and it's all voice activated too if I want. So I just hit a button on my steering wheel and I can make phone calls and change the radio and go through my phone and send text messages to people and things like that.
Are you just going to spend like hours and hours just sitting there playing with all the new features?
Probably,
just to
yeah.
get familiar with it, so when you do head up on the road, you're like, you know where everything is.
Yeah.
And
I might take the class.
drive me. Please
No.
drive me.
Do you guys have tuition reimbursement?
Well, that'd be so great. It starts spamming you like while you're driving. Like your music cuts out, and you're like, "Do you need a loan?" Just like it starts going through my Google searches. And like,
Oh, yeah.
there is a Five Guys nearby.
This morning I was rickrolled by my car.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys see that thing on Reddit where somebody
I obviously
Somebody-
didn't see it, but
Yeah.
I probably did.
Nick,
somebody you know what I'm going to say, don't you, Matt?
no.
Okay, well, getting my expectations.
I mean,
up.
maybe
No, he might.
I probably did see it.
I'm just
Somebody-
making that joke because he's always giving me shit about not going on Reddit enough. And
Yeah, Reddit is chock full of
I know it's got goodness.
meaningful content and a lot more meaningless content, but it's all, most of it's entertaining content, if nothing else. But
Right.
yeah, somebody put a link to the video, and the title of the post was, "Well, guys, it finally happened. They took down the video." And everybody's like, "What, really?" And clicked on it, and it's the Rickroll. And so, like
That thing is still going
yes,
strong.
I think it was the original or something too.
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
It probably
Yeah.
has like gajillion hits on it.
Yeah,
Millions
and
upon
so
millions.
like I don't know, like however many thousands of people were freshly rickrolled, and everybody was like, "God,
God damn.
son of a."
It's become like a rare thing, like where there'll be like a random thread going on, and someone posts like an irrelevant random comment or relevant comment with a link, and then it'll be Rickroll, and you're like, "Hi, that's something I haven't seen in a long time."
It's like meeting with an old friend after many minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
You're like,
Rick,
"You
how
son-"
are you?
But you're son, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I read this stat where that song has been played, the whole Rickroll, the what Never Gonna Let You Down, like
Or
over,
never give you a...
they never give
Yeah.
whatever it is.
We don't even know what it's called.
Right.
Doesn't
It's
even
been
matter.
Yeah.
it's been played over 400 million times, and
Just this month.
oh, right, no. And Rick has made like $10 off of it through YouTube.
Oh, wow.
So like his videos made a little money, but then there's thousands of other of those Rickroll videos out there that all millions and millions of people have heard now, and they're like, motherfucker.
It's funny too because its connotation now is a bit of disdain. So it's not like they go out and buy the song afterward.
Oh,
After
right,
hearing
right.
it
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a little bit.
Just
by
3
the
times
views.
today.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Rick's living in a van down by the river.
yeah, exactly.
What could have
It's like,
been.
they did give up. And
Yeah.
they did let me down.
Yeah, you can't go out in public anymore. Kids now are like, there's that random GIF I've seen of a guy in a trench coat.
Do the snapping finger thing.
Yeah.
Dude, think that at one time was a legitimate, probably pretty popular song
Oh,
of
absolutely.
the
yeah,
80s.
Yeah.
It was 80s, right?
I think
Oh,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you watch the video, you're like, yeah, that's how videos were back then. But like with the context of everything else that came after it, it's just like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like it seems totally ironic in every single bit of it.
Right, right.
Man,
You gotta
That's
love it,
hilarious.
though.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
You know, another thing that was before the Rickrolling era was the Goatsy thing. Remember Goatsy?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You see that even less frequently now.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, someone will post that, and you're like, oh, hey.
Oh, yeah.
Why, hello. It's been how many years?
So true.
Have you guys ever did that and pull out a Goatsy or Rickrolled anybody? Or
No, I've
No?
never personally Goatsied anybody.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like, especially over the past, like, 4 or 5 years, it's definitely tapered off, like, the effect. But it is one of those things when you see it now, you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Do you guys remember the, it'd be like a scary, or not a scary video, it's like a car driving, it's like winding through the
Yes.
pristine, nice
Wilderness.
countryside, and then just this mortifying scream, and this monster comes jumping out of you.
Yes.
I got, a couple of times that got me.
Yes.
You know, it'd be different versions of it, but...
There was usually some kind of misleading caption or something.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If you turn the volume up enough, you can just
Exactly.
make out the sound of
They want it
blank.
loud.
Right,
So
right.
people would crank up the volume and put their ear right next to the screen. Like,
Yep.
I think I hit it. And then as we say, some god-awful thing would come up. And
Yeah.
then a lot of people died.
There was another one that went around, and this was like pretty early on the internet because when I was growing up, where I lived, we couldn't even get internet. And what's funny is they still can't. Where my mom lives, they still can't get internet.
Oh, really?
Completely, yeah. Boggles my mind that you can't like subscribe to any internet connection except for like a mobile broadband or whatever.
Right.
But there was one, and I think Wayne.
2014, come on, people.
Yeah, I think my friend Wayne got me on it, and it was a very like rudimentary maze that you do, and then what you do is you tell the person, like, man, I can't even solve this maze, and it's like, you know, like very simple.
Right,
and
right.
what happens is like you get to the very end and a freaking scary face. It looks like the Exorcist girl pops up on the screen real quick while you're trying to do it.
I remember doing that.
There's a ton of videos online of people doing it too, and then getting freaked the fuck out. So
There's
that was a good one.
There's a little Filipino lady in my lab. Somebody did that to her about a year ago, and she didn't have any exposure to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Those are the people you need to be getting. The ones who haven't been online quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little Filipino lady, like, just doesn't know, completely illiterate when it comes to, like, internet anything. And some other guy was like, oh, you have to look at this, look, you have to turn the volume up. And so she was like, ay, caballo, and did it, and that happened, and there was, like, this, and this is, like, at work, right? So there's, like, patients in the hallway, and, like, all of a sudden there's this piercing scream.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Jason works at a phlebotomy lab.
Yeah, I work at a...
Oh, yeah, we'll get
Should be
into that
good
a little bit,
context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work in a phlebotomy laboratory, and followed very, very shortly thereafter by a second shriek from the little Filipino lady. She comes running out of her draw station, and she's, like, looking feverishly around for the guy that showed her the video, like, where did he go?
I need new,
It was so
I need
funny.
new scrubs.
With no context, like waiting in the lobby. Some lady, where did he go? Where did he go? Just after her scream.
My email is still open.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I could probably show my mom something like that because she's no internet. She's not familiar with the internet at all.
Yeah.
But she'd probably just hate me.
Probably.
More than she does. Well, I mean, even a couple years ago, you know, it's late at night, you're on the internet, you start link here, whatever, you get lost in it after a while. I was just looking at, there's still like a, not a hashtag, but like you can go on some of these websites and they're like shit bricks. When you see shit bricks. Have you ever seen those photos? And some of them are like photos where there's something in the background or something that, like, when you realize it, you're like, oh, like it's a little freaky.
Yeah,
like there's a face.
Yeah.
peering
It'll
at
be
you.
something that'll be like when you see it.
Yeah, it'll say when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like clicking through a bunch of those because they were entertaining. You know, it was kind of like find the whatever's going on in this picture. You know, and some of them were freaky and some of them were funny and stuff like that. Well, one I'll never forget because it's super late at night. And it's you're looking down at like a basement. So you're seeing steps disappear into a basement. And I'm like, okay, you know, so I'm like, and it's creepy, and I'm like staring at it, and I'm like trying to find it. Well, it turns out it was a GIF. And they planned it so well that it was like after like 15 seconds, a freaking ghost face comes out of legitimately comes out of the blackness, like right at the screen. And I I still get chills thinking about how bad it scared me because I was like, oh, and I threw my laptop to the side and I like shut it, like, and I was like, and then I was like, you son of a bitch, you got me.
Reminds me of, what was that movie where they clap and the chick was like locked in the basement area and like
oh, The Conjuring.
Conjuring.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
reminds me of. Yeah. That was a freaky scene.
Yeah, very.
So, Matt, how long thereafter did you have to spend cleaning the chair?
You mean changing my sheets? I was like in bed. It was even worse because I'm in bed with the laptop on my lap, you know. Just
Oh, yeah,
looking
yeah.
around.
I've never done laundry so late at night.
Pretty much. But I was like, and I still haven't looked at those things since. 'Cause I'm like, someone's gonna
Scarred
get
for
it
life.
without like looking at the URL first.
When I was,
Love the internet.
how old was I? I was like 15, 16, something like that. My mom hates tarantulas, right? And I, like you two,
Does
grew
like
up in...
tarantulas.
Well,
Well, they're harmless.
yeah, I mean, they don't... Yeah, some
Harmless.
people don't seem to mind them, really. But,
Disgusting, hairy spiders, whatever.
well, my mom hates them, and living out in the Estates in Ramona, obviously we got them from that time. And they would be around the house from time to time, and my mom would just freak out and send my dad out to do battle with it. And it was this thing, like, if you saw a tarantula, don't let it get anywhere near my mom. It was just a household rule.
Uh-huh.
So one time I was out in the backyard, and we had this stretch of lawn in the backyard, and I found a dead one that was on its back with the legs, instead of being classically splayed apart, they were sort of pinched together on each side.
Uh-huh.
And it looked vaguely like a bird that had like fallen on the grass. And there was a sliding glass door on the back patio that birds would sometimes fly into and knock themselves out and kind of flutter around. And whenever that would happen, my mom would always rush outside and try to nurse it back to health and make sure it was okay before it took off. So I saw this spider, and I don't know exactly what crossed my mind, but I found myself thinking, I can do something with
Get
this.
some fish
So
in line.
what I did is I went inside and I said, hey, Mom, there's an injured bird out on the lawn. And she's like, oh, really? Oh, well, show me where it is. And so I walked out the door, and I was like, it's right over there, in that patch of sunlight over there. Yeah. And so she went over there, and I was under the impression that I thought there was no way she could mistake this close up, right?
Yeah.
But she goes over, and she's like, oh, I see it. And then she goes over, and she's standing right in front of it, looking down, and she's like, oh. And then she gets down on her hands and knees and puts her face right next to it to like inspect it or want to see if it was injured or something. And then she realized what it was. And my mom was like 45, 46 at the time. I've never seen her move that quickly. I mean, she did a goddamn wind sprint from one side of the yard to the other at 45 years old, and screamed and everything, and ran across the yard. And I'm still in the doorway on the back patio of the sliding glass door, like trying not to laugh as loudly as I wanted to, but I'm really having a hard time containing myself. And then my mom finally, like after a second, she like looks around feverishly for me and sees me and reaches over and grabs the closest object to her, which happened to be a small clay potted plant, and threw it at me. And it shattered on the wall, and I ducked inside, and there's soil fragments flying everywhere, and I hauled ass and, Jason! And
I think that's a moment when it's gone too far.
Yeah.
It's like, you just fucked up.
This is pure rage.
It was pure. There were a couple seconds where my mom was weapons free. Like she was.
Oh, man.
She was coming and she was going to kill me.
Oh my.
And it was It was, just think of George Takei. Oh my. And I think that's probably the finest practical joke that I ever played on my parents. But I mean,
That's a good one, though.
When I say on her hands and knees with her face
Oh my.
Right.
planted practically like a millimeter from the spider, trying to see what was wrong with the bird that was knocked unconscious. I mean, she was. I don't blame her for being scared, but it worked too well.
Yeah, too low.
It's funny in hindsight, but she was not amused.
Flying pot comes at your face. Damn, that's extreme.
Great.
What'd she do, like, after that?
She cooled down pretty quickly. I
Yeah.
can't remember if I ran to my room or if I ran like through the house and out into the front yard or what, but I can't imagine running into my room and cornering myself like that. That would have been stupid.
Oh, no.
Right.
So I wouldn't have done it.
That's another pot?
Yeah, I think I ran out of the He's like knocking on the door. Son.
We're not done here.
Yeah. I think I ran out to the front yard of the garage or something. She cooled down very quickly, and I walked back inside, and she gave me this look. She's like, I don't remember what she said, but it was something very sarcastic, like, well, that was funny. Something like that.
She was probably in shock that she threw a plant at you.
Oh, yeah,
She probably was like, oh, my.
Alright, time to calm down.
It makes for a good story. I would never do it again, but it makes for a good story.
That's so funny.
We had, when my brother, sister, and I were young, we were at some outing. Our cousin, took us to run errands one time. We were at some store, and by the counter they sold these little, like, fake insects and there was a fake rat. So we, like, convinced our cousin to buy it for us. So this is, like, 3 or 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that thing made its rounds around my house for years to come, with all of us putting it in each other's beds and stuff like that. And regularly, I say regularly, but like maybe once every 6 months or so, we'd throw it in my mom's bed. And so when she'd throw the sheets back, she'd scream, and we'd all be like, yeah.
Got her.
I mean, my mom probably got wise after a while and threw it away or something like that.
Right,
but
right.
it definitely, for probably $1, just made its
Endless
rounds around
amounts
the
of fun.
house.
Yeah, yeah.
One day you guys never saw it again.
Yeah.
For Halloween, it was right around the time where you think you're too old to go to trick-or-treating, and then you realize, oh, I'm not too old when you get back to it. But before that time,
Right.
there was a couple of years where I just hung out, and I lived in an apartment complex, so we used to get a lot of traffic, all the surrounding apartment complexes, all the little kids would come by, and parents and everybody else. And I would set up a fake spider above our awning area, so it would have been like someone's patio area, but we lived in the bottom stairs. So I'd set it up with a fishing line, just set it up there, sit in the window, real low, just kind of waiting, and then every time someone would come, you just slowly lower it.
Oh,
Someone's head.
nice.
And I got a lot of people got freaked out. So that was a lot of fun.
Good times.
I know, I wanted to do it more, but after a while, people stopped coming to the apartment complex, and they'd all go to the estates, and not because of the spider
I was like,
thing.
oh, shit.
They just stopped going to...
Sean was a victim of his own success.
I know, yeah. They're like, we ain't going back to there. Spiders there.
My uncle lived in the Estates, and where we're from, Ramona, the Estates is like the outlawing, suburban community.
Yeah.
A lot of people would go trick-or-treating because nicer houses and more traffic.
Better candy and...
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot more going on.
So he
Haunted
would-
houses and shit people would set up.
One year, or he probably did it multiple years, but only one year that I saw it, he got in the front yard, put a couple...
Who is this?
My uncle.
Oh, your uncle,
He
okay.
put a couple hay bales out, and then built a couple dummies, hay stuffed people with masks on stuff.
Okay.
But he would sit directly behind the bales with a mask on, like a gorilla mask, and just stay still. So he just looked like he was part of all these dummies, And it looked pretty legit. And sure enough, you'd walk up and he would jump up, and I mean, his goal was to scare people away so they wouldn't even come back. And he was very successful. We went over to visit them on Halloween, and he got me super good because I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing they built. All of a sudden, it just jumps out at you, and I was like, so much fun, especially being an adult.
Yeah.
gotta be fun.
Sometimes it's the simple setups like that work the best because you don't see it coming. There's not a lot of theatricality. There's not a lot of build up.
Right.
There's not a lot of evidence that you're walking into some kind of trap.
Right.
So all of a sudden there's some guy in your face in a mask, and you're like, whoa, he wasn't there a second
Right.
ago, and then you're running.
Yeah, when I worked for the Boys and Girls Club, this was years and years ago. But one night we took the older kids, so they're like the teen kids, and we took them to what's the haunted trail in the Del Mar racetrack area.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have a whole little haunted house thing set up. So I was taking a group of girls, so there's probably 4 or 5 girls. They're all around 12, 13 years old. And then so I'm leading the way, and then I look back, and they're all hunched down, grabbing my waist, and they're all covering their faces up, not even looking around them. And I'm I have a train of all these girls screaming and whimpering. And I'm like, why the fuck are we in here? I'm I'm scared now. This is freaking me out.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they have whole different sections. They have a section where it's like Saw. They have all the movie Saw. They have all the different things, and then they have a Freddy Krueger section. Then it's a scary clown part, and I'm just eventually I had to take them all out because I'm you guys aren't even paying attention. This is just freaking me out more than anything else. I don't want to be here either.
Yeah.
Right. Especially now that you're the de facto leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Through the expedition, you're
Yeah.
gotta save face.
Exactly. But then there's a clown running up on me with a fake chainsaw, but it's like real. It just doesn't have a chain on it. It was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't like this.
Oh yeah.
Is that a new cold going?
Yeah.
It's going right now?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yes. You know.
Yeah, that's bringing it back around too. We used to go to the estates a lot when I was younger, and then my younger brother and sister would go out, and then eventually we had younger cousins that we would take out. So I've been going out there like many years, and I remember like for not even like the first year, but like the first few years after September 11th, like it was like a ghost town out there. Like people were like so. I think it was like a era of like we don't know what to do anymore. There's been like a big shift in things, and it was weird to think about something like as traditional and like harmless as that like took a hit. Yeah. That like people were like, oh, we don't know if we should do that this year.
It really is supposed to be just a fun event. You go around,
a big community thing.
Yeah, community thing. Yeah.
No, I remember that.
I remember that.
The first or maybe like 2 seasons after.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, October's so close to September, and it's still like
fresh
in your mind, and yeah, people are just kind of. I think that is really like a shocking event to happen. It's got to take time to sink into your psyche. Exactly. Wow, this happened.
Yeah.
It's like just one giant buzzkill. I feel like some people were kind of freaked out, and other people were like, like I just don't feel very festive.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
For lack of a better term.
Well, I mean, you guys remember like everyone had American flags and were very like supportive of for a while it seemed everyone was pretty friendly, and then reached a certain point where just like this is bizarre.
Yeah. Very very much so. Yeah.
And then people, you guys remember when people stopped selling French fries and they started selling Freedom fries?
That's right.
That was pretty stupid.
That was
yeah.
Jeez.
That was like a big, still like I'm saying, like a big time of ambiguity and misinformation too, because it was like 9/11 became arguments for this or that, or
it became justification for anything.
Anything, especially.
Probably the scariest part of the entire thing is not so much the event, for me anyway, not so much the events of, as terrible as they were, but the repercussions, what it led to. As far as, I don't want to get too political here, but as far as like overseas foreign policy and whatnot, it just became like, 9/11 happened, so we have justification to do this or whatever. And that was almost scarier than the actual event.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And all the craziness that came, like, I mean, basically the birth of the TSA and, all these other programs, and NSA, like, really got their foot in the ground. And
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just interesting, especially for us. I mean, we were in high school and stuff, but, like, in those years following, like, I remember going, or, like, being in political science classes in college, and, they were on the forefront of, like, what's happening, and they were trying to educate us on, like, hey, like, trying to be as unbiased as possible, but, like, if there was any opposition or questions to things we were doing, you were easily labeled, like, un-American or unpatriotic because of 9/11.
So unfortunate.
Right, and it just, like, luckily, I feel like I was very lucky to be getting an education in what that meant, and, as far as, like, presenting arguments and trying to get elected and things like that, and like to just have a critical eye. But it's crazy to think anyone else, not only like not in the educational atmosphere, but like the younger generation coming up too and just growing up with it, and like this is the way it is, and you're like, no, well, it's not the way it is. It's
you're right.
Things took a little turn, like do we have to?
Just a few years ago, it wasn't like this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
at all.
Yeah. Right. And it's, like, weird, too, because it's, like, I never did much flying when I was younger. I mean, maybe a few times, but, like, I just imagine, like, now when, flying is so strict now, and I'm like, well, what was it like? It must have been just a very, like, almost getting on the bus, you just give them your ticket and you go on,
Well, yeah, when I was younger, I used to fly, because my parents were divorced, so my dad, he lived in Texas and Georgia, so, yeah, I did a lot of pre-9/11 flying, and yeah, it was very laid back. Obviously, I was a kid, so it was a little different traveling as a child, because especially being a young kid too, so I'd have like a chaperone type of thing, like take me if I was changing flights and things like that. But yeah, I just remember it was much different than what it is now, going in as an adult.
I seem to
Going through
remember
body scanners and
Yeah, there
all
was
kinds of weirdness.
obviously
now.
none of that stuff. I remember there were metal detectors, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they had metal detectors,
Yeah.
and they still do have them.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. But,
and-
that was about it, though. It was just
Yeah,
walk
that
through
was
metal detector.
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, there's no
Those-
physical pat downs or anything
Yeah.
like that.
You just
and-
put your bag through the X-ray machine
Yep.
as opposed to your underwear and your socks and your shoes and your hat.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
your fucking pacemaker.
And you can't take like a bottle of water.
Oh yeah, they
through,
changed
right?
all
any,
that.
Any
yeah.
liquids
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah, certain. I think what is it, like 3 ounces or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think the TSA works with CVS pharmacies.
Oh right, yeah.
Because
Right,
you can't
right.
do anything with it. So the minute you get on the ground, you're like, okay, where's the closest Save-On? Where's the closest Save-On?
Right,
I
exactly.
need toothpaste. I need this. I need that.
Yeah.
You know, and CVS is like, well, we'll make it rain all
Yeah.
day.
Cash it in.
Yeah.
That's such a good point too.
I mean,
I'm surprised they don't market their travel size stuff as like airplane approved or
Right.
TSA approved.
Oh right, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a good marketing.
Oh,
ploy.
traveling, take this appropriately sized toothpaste.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if they're allowed to.
That's a good point.
I wonder if
I
that's
see
like,
why not.
but I would think by now someone would have thought of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I'm not that great. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right.
I did
No,
not
after
mean
like
that in a
10
negative way
years.
at all, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Someone would have thought of it.
But seriously.
Well, I'll send out an email. TSA, or at least even in the airport.
Yeah.
Like buy your TSA approved.
Yeah.
I guess that would be risky though. That would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sit on that one.
But
Put
it
a
would
pin in
help a
that.
lot of people, especially when you come rolling in with like a full thing of mouthwash, and you're like, now I have to throw away my mouthwash because it's not approved.
Yeah.
The ounces aren't approved
There's
from
too
the
much of
TSA.
it.
Yeah, there's too much mouthwash. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, you could just use it. I mean,
Oh yeah, just like chug it.
For
Fresh breath for the whole week.
Shots of Listerine for everybody.
4 years ago, when I took, I helped a lady move across country. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
drove to New York, and I had to fly back.
Oh, that's right. I remember
Yeah.
that.
So I remember, I had very limited amount of time to get to New York and then catch a flight, and it was like a commuter flight from New York to Detroit, and then a flight home to San Diego. Well, it was such a rush. Like I literally got to where I needed to be in New York, and the lady like whisked me off to the airport, which is like an hour away. So I had my bag of stuff. Well, the whole drive, I basically was living off of like peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter crackers, because I was
Yeah.
just on the move. So it's funny when I got to the airport because I had a backpack, and they're like making me go through my backpack, and I'm pulling out jars of peanut butter and like coffee, just like Starbucks, glasses like
Yeah.
half full, and like water bottles and stuff. But the funniest thing was like pulling out these like random jars of peanut butter that I needed because they're like, sir, you can't take that on board. And I was like, and then I got a little like frustrated because I'm like, I just bought this bottle of peanut butter, like now I have to throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be frustrating.
My weird experience, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I love peanut butter.
That's good stuff.
It was like a full bottle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a time like I remember being younger, and you could just bring on snacks and food. You can bring on all kinds of good shit, and now you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only bring on. I don't even know if you can bring food on the plane now, but it would have to be bought in the actual airport. I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
think you can bring small baggies on, like little tiny, like the 3
Oh,
ounces.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Peanuts
Okay.
or whatever.
Where they
but-
can
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
in
See
the bag.
what's in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bit. And we'll do a little rapid fire with our friend Jason here,
Yeah.
and you guys can get to know him a little bit.
Jason, thanks for coming on
Oh yeah,
the
dude,
podcast.
really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you
Absolutely.
guys. I feel a little bit like I might have invited myself over. Like, hey, let's do a podcast.
No, dude, no.
We've actually like
We've been wanting to have you
yeah,
on for a long
when we
time.
meet off the podcast, we're like, we gotta get Jason.
We have to
Okay.
get Jason on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jason, first question, and this is just rapid fire. I'll just ask you a question. You can just answer
Yeah, get
as
ready. Get pumped up.
in depthly as you want, or
As I see fit.
however you want to go with it. All right. So, number one, Hakuna Matata or YOLO?
Oh God.
I think I would have to go with Hakuna Matata only because YOLO has been hijacked so many times by so many bros and obnoxious hipsters.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just-
that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Absolutely.
There are no wrong answers,
There's no-
but that's the right answer.
But that is the right answer. Thank you for your approval, man.
All right. A great album or a great movie?
Well, my personal favorite film, generally speaking, outside of any specific genre, would be Cloud Atlas.
Oh, great movie, yeah.
I think it's great storytelling, great acting, great theatrical makeup, great everything.
Yeah.
And it really, the making of also, I mean, it got off the ground only because of personal contributions by Tom Hanks and some of the other leading actors.
Oh, right, yeah.
It wasn't like a lot of the executives.
And the Wachowskis, right? They did it?
It wasn't very popular at whatever studio it was trying to.
I thought it was great, though.
It was a great film, but a lot of people didn't like it, pre-production and post-production and whatnot, but it got off the ground. I think it's a great film, personally.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as a great album, there are so many out there. I mean, I don't know.
I think the question is more like, which do you prefer? Like, would it be a great album or a great movie?
Right.
Okay. Probably a great film.
Good film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that, yes.
Just because it's for me, it's a little bit more immersive.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Visually, especially if it's a visually stunning movie with an amazing story, then
Yeah.
It's something you can watch over and over and not get tired of.
Exactly.
All right, so number 3. Does online dating work?
That depends on your definition of work.
That's a great answer.
I have dabbled. I've had success.
I think we all have a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met
Mixed
some
bag.
Yeah, very interesting, very friendly people.
Yeah.
One or two people that I've gone on consecutive dates with, they didn't go anywhere. The chemistry wasn't right, but I mean, it worked. I'm glad I met them. They were cool people.
Yeah.
And then you get other people that don't talk to you at all, don't respond to anything you
Wow.
say to them.
Yeah,
it's sort of like fishing.
It's
Yeah.
bizarrely
that's a good way
like
to
fishing.
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the saying? There's plenty of fish in the sea. So
Sure.
I guess if online dating is one of the ways of a nice little honey hole that
Yeah.
you can find, cast your line out and see what happens.
Literally.
Yeah.
Honey hole.
Hey-o!
I mean, maybe.
My favorite.
So overall, though,
Um,
online dating.
Yeah, I think it works for a lot
Could
of
work.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one medium of several to meet new people and
Absolutely.
potentially find whatever it is that you're looking for. So
Fuck yeah.
it's out there.
All right, number 4. Mixed drink or an ice cold beer?
Ice
Which would
cold
you-
beer.
Nice.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Sean. But
Direct.
No, you knew
Hands
the
down,
answer.
hands
Just
down.
go for it, man. All right, could you start a fire in the forest without matches?
Would I have a gun in this scenario?
Just says without matches.
No,
So I
probably
guess
not.
if you had a gun, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I
Well, do I have a lighter?
Nothing that you would normally use to start a fire with.
do I have a Native American companion?
I think for this,
Hey,
it
yeah.
implies
Yeah.
you don't have anything.
Yeah,
Right,
You're,
yeah.
you're just out there and you need a
On your
Right.
wits, yeah. Can you figure it out?
I've honestly never tried, so I don't know for sure.
Mhm.
Probably not. The odds are definitely against me there, but I know
I
that
feel like you could do
Yeah,
it.
I was
though.
I
really
was just
feel like
thinking that,
if
I'm like-
anyone could do it, I feel like
Yeah.
Jason would figure it out. I feel like you could do it.
Me of all people.
Yeah, why not?
Oh yeah.
I think you got the instinct.
Yeah, you got the instinct to figure it out.
If I was lost in the woods and I needed fire, you overshot.
Motherfucker. I smoke weed. I have a lighter on me, bro.
That is a great point too. Though.
Yeah, think
Sean
about
would
it,
just
huh?
be over there like,
And I'd be like, my last balls and last lighter. I'm like, shit. Oh, well, sorry, guys.
I'd be
It's
freaking
all
out. Sean, we need fire, and he's like,
Smoking balls.
all right.
All right, I'll figure it out. One ball, I'll figure it out.
Calm down, man. Jesus,
nobody's going to turn down my
It is.
mic
It's
now.
not that cold out.
hit this.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I think if I stick with it,
Okay.
I could
I feel
probably
like you
figure it
could.
out.
All right, if you're in a race and you overtake the person in second place, what position are you in?
First place. No, second place.
Yes,
God.
yes.
Nice recovery.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
no, you got it quickly though.
Okay.
You figured it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of
So
those.
yeah, you're in third,
Yeah.
taking on second place,
That
and
was
then
one
you
of those.
take over
Oh shit,
second
I'm an
place.
idiot moments.
No.
No, this is our second time doing this whole like rapid fire to like get to know people, and yeah, you got it.
Okay.
You're good. All right, a beach bungalow or a cabin in the woods?
Question.
Man, that's. Well, I'm not sure though. That's kind of an ambiguous question. I mean, what part of the world are we in?
Which would you prefer? Would you prefer to have a bungalow on the beach or a bungalow
Just
or
in
a
general?
cabin anywhere in the world?
Probably a
forest.
cabin in the woods.
Cabin in the woods?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. What woods?
I think so.
Seattle? in that area.
Seattle's nice.
Yeah, it's
Seattle's
beautiful.
nice.
Down there.
Yeah, the Pacific Northwest is nice.
Yeah, for me it would be Northern California, somewhere right in smack dab of the redwoods, next to a river or near the coast or something. That would be sick.
And the nice thing about that climate too is that even if you do have a cabin in the woods, it may only be half a mile from the beach,
That's
exactly.
very true.
Exactly.
which is kind of
That's
cool.
true.
So potentially you could have the best of both worlds, as it were.
Yeah.
Oh, I
very,
like
very
that
true.
answer.
Yeah.
All right. What's your sign? Your zodiac sign?
I have no idea.
I love that. What is September? I don't even remember.
I think it's
know.
Leo.
Yeah, Leo?
I'll look it
yeah,
up.
I think it's
You can
Leo.
keep-
Okay.
Keep going on.
All right. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Me too. Pies all the way.
I was
man.
once known as Mr. Pie.
Oh, that's right.
Many years ago in my youth, I would occasionally buy entire pies and consume the entire thing, and somehow not.
Well, for a long time, my birthday, I would request a pie. It would be a blueberry pie or something along those lines.
Did you always go with Julian?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, growing up in Ramona, you
Oh,
couldn't go
yeah.
with anything else
Yeah.
all day.
Get a delicious apple pie.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I think that still personally, I think that's some of the best pie I've ever had.
oh, fuck yeah. It's got to be.
Yeah,
Really,
they're
those-
handmade every day.
Yeah, their apples come from right there. It's fucking awesome.
Hands down.
All right, so we have one more. And, okay, so number 10, you have 1 month to live. What do you do?
If possible, go into space.
Space?
Yeah. Experience zero G, a zero gravity environment, like legitimately.
Right.
And hopefully, if allowed, throw a water balloon at someone or something. And,
In space or?
in space, yeah. Like
That'd be awesome.
in the zero gravity environment.
Whoosh, and then the water just floats everywhere.
Not just the water, but the fragments of the balloon.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's like slow motion
That'd be
shrapnel.
so
and
sweet.
I'm just saying. And you short out every system on whatever
I don't-
ship or station you happen to be on, and
You're about to die.
cost the Russian space program. What are they, rubles?
Oh, Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah, rubles.
Rubles?
Yep.
Yeah. Hundreds of millions of rubles of damage.
A billion rubles.
Yeah. All because some terminally ill jackass threw a water balloon at the main navigation
Well, just do it on the
console.
29th day, because you know if one day left, you're like, fuck it, why not? I'm taking everyone else with me. This is water balloon this shit.
Yeah.
Water balloon fight!
Yeah, definitely go to space. I think that's beyond anything else. That's one of the ultimate experiences. I think, for me anyway, would be to do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jason, you are a Virgo.
Ooh, a Virgo.
So what does that imply?
All right, August 23rd through September 22nd, the introverted Virgo is very hard to catch. Those under the Virgo zodiac are so reserved that it is hard even to know them, much less win their hearts. I'll debate that. The worst part is, the more interested they are in you, the shyer they will be in your presence. That is why you won't see Virgos getting attached in a hurry.
That's why I also don't say very much while I'm around you, man.
Oh. Ba-ba-da-da.
Oh my!
I'll see you online.
Oh yeah.
That's a good rapid fire.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to know Jason a little bit. Just some 10 random ass questions, just to kind of get a little feel for what Jason Hype has to bring to the world.
Indeed.
I like it. You had great answers.
Yeah,
Great answers.
you know what-
Absolutely.
You know what still gets me about the beach bungalow or
Cabin in the Woods.
cabin in the woods is that as much as I love the beach and I love seeing it, I think I would still pick the woods.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something so much more private, I guess, about it.
Right.
I guess you could say.
Right.
I mean, ideally, I would be in woods with proximity to the beach, just
Right.
because it's always there.
Yeah.
You know, it's always there. But I don't know. Or just have two, and you guys
That would
just
be preferable,
alternate.
right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Or just have a really nice tent.
Yeah, that's a
that you
tough
can
one.
pitch in the forest
Yeah.
or on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let
Wish
me
I could have
see.
both.
Can I see those questions?
Yeah. If you can read it, it's in cursive.
We've not done these questions with you or I,
Oh yeah.
so let's do them just for this episode. I'll do them for you, and then we could do me like another time. or
Okay,
something.
okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Can you read it? My
you already know what's coming.
my
but,
chicken scratch.
But just do what you can.
What?
All right.
Here's an idea, and this is just an idea.
Okay.
Yeah, throw it out.
We're open.
What if we all come up with 10 fresh questions, and
Ooh, I like that.
just around the table?
Okay. For like another podcast or right
Yeah,
now?
like right now.
Well, can you come up
That's
with
a lot of
10
questions.
on your mind?
You can't come up with 10 questions?
I don't think so.
I already did, so.
They're opting out over here.
Well, I mean,
okay, we
you-
can stick with those two. Like I said, just an idea. Just an idea.
But no, like, if you have a question, I say throw it out
Well,
there.
yeah,
Why not?
just throw it out.
Yeah.
Do you have a good hypothetical?
Well, I hadn't really begun compiling yet, but
Okay.
I'll start now.
Well, think
hey,
about
we're
it.
gonna
Just
have you on
think
another podcast.
Yeah.
So if you want to get up 10 questions, bring it to the table again. I say let's do that. I would love that.
You're our
That'd be
third.
awesome.
You're our third most frequent guest.
That's so true.
Just so
Yeah,
you know.
we've had.
So does
yeah,
that put me in first place or second?
We've had our friend Rachel and Sarah on,
Right.
and Sequoia once.
Yeah, I'd love to come on again.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Oh, most definitely, absolutely.
All right, Sean, are you a Kuna Matata? Or
Oh,
you
Kuna
got-
Matata. Hell
Okay.
yeah.
I thought so.
Fuck yeah.
All right, great album or great movie?
I would have to go with great album because there's something about a good album you can just listen to over and over. You can be anywhere in the world and listen to that great album. You know, I mean,
That's
you
a-
can
that's
have
a
it
good
on your
point.
iPod, you can be at the beach, or you can be up in the forest listening to that album. You can be in your car listening to that album. But there is something really good about a good movie. You can just sit down and watch over and over. But for me, I would have to go with great album.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Does online dating work?
You know what? I think it can work, but
Nobody-
just like Jason was saying,
Nobody, because this is a podcast again, nobody can actually see what we're doing, but the physicality of Matt asking that question was really, I mean, there was this flourish of shrugging and
I
hand motions.
know. Wish it was a video cast.
my God.
This is me taking on my journalistic mode. I've taken a journalism class. I don't know if it shows.
Well, like Jason was saying, it's hit and miss. Like, I mean, really, it is just like meeting any random person that you would meet at a party. Let's say, you know, you might get along for a little bit, you know, at the party or online chatting, and then you get up, you know, actually meet with them, go out, just the two of you. The chemistry might not be there, you know. So yeah, I think it does work. It hasn't worked for me, but Harmony says it works. So
That old dude.
The potential is there.
the potential is definitely there. I don't know if I would necessarily like
Say it works for you.
say it works for me, but you know,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm more of a personal person. I gotta really like be around a person a lot to really like. Okay, let's go on a date now.
That's true.
Yeah.
We can go back to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, mixed drink or ice cold beer?
Oh, ice cold
Sean
beer.
Evans,
Ice
beer
motherfucking
connoisseur.
cold beer.
Yeah.
All day, every day. But a good mixed drink every once in a while is good. Like, you know, margarita or Long Island iced tea, let's say, or you know,
Cosmopolitan.
I've never had a Cosmo.
like the gays
White
are-
Russian.
I got it.
A nice White Russian from the Star Bar every once in a while is fun.
Well, you know, the dude abides,
The dude always abides.
whether in San Diego or elsewhere. I mean,
Exactly. Unless they refuse to serve us to us. And they're
Yeah,
like,
you know
no,
what?
Yeah.
that's too gay for
I
you
was- I
guys.
was
You need to
actually-
have a beer. You're like,
I-
what? We want White Russian.
I was
bitch.
just thinking about that the other day. I am convinced that there were a couple times when we asked for 3 or 4 White Russians.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're out of milk."
Oh,
And in
right.
fact, they actually had gallons on hand. They just didn't feel like
Guarantee.
making 4 White Russians
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
They're like, just
us
take a beer out,
jackasses.
you
And I'm
assholes.
like, no, we're not going to the trouble. You guys are not. No.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I
all
almost
but
feel,
certain.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Fucking kids and their white Russians. All right. Could you start a fire in the woods?
I like to think I would. You know, in 6th grade camp, they taught us, you know, that string with a little bow, and you just like move the stick back and forth over and over for a really, really
Oh,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Get a
yeah,
little
yeah.
flint in there, get the wood as hot as it can. I feel like if I tried long enough, I could get a fire going without like matches or lighter or anything like that. I hope so.
If you're in a...
Oh shit.
Oh, you already know the answer to the race question. All right. Well, beach bungalow or cabin in the woods?
You know what? I think I would. I love the beach, man. I really love the beach, but I think it would tire on me a little bit. So I think I would have to go with the cabin in
That's
the
a
woods.
good point too.
I
You
love the
might tire
beach.
of it. The woods seems kind of like
Very
endless.
peaceful. You can find
That's
a path, and you can
Yeah.
just explore
Yeah.
and be amongst the trees and the plants and that like.
There's something very timeless about
Natural
a well-grown
energy.
forest.
Yeah, and you get to hear the birds in the trees, and every once in a while see a deer or elk or
That's
something.
true.
That'd be
More
sick.
wildlife.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We know.
Well, not necessarily more wildlife. I mean,
Oh, there's plenty of
yeah.
wildlife at
Depend-
the
like
beach, seagulls and pelicans.
Well,
and
depends on where in the world you are too. If you have a
Oh,
cabin
yeah, true.
on a beach in South Africa, then you get penguins and seals.
Oh,
and
that's
sharks
right.
And like all
That's
the
true.
albatrosses.
Yep.
And all
Oh,
that
even here in
stuff.
San Diego, you get the
That's very
seals, but I
true.
don't want to fuck with seals. So.
Yeah. Fuck seals.
Yeah, exactly.
Love her,
I like seals. But, we know you like pie.
All day, every day, ladies.
You have a month to live. What do you do?
Eat pie.
You're right. You just endless
Eat
amounts
pie
of
in the woods.
I drink beer and listen to my favorite album.
Oh shit! You know what? I think I might just do that.
Stop.
Fuck traveling because that takes up too much time. It's
Yeah.
like you're traveling.
That's true.
If I want to go to Spain or want to go to Europe or Australia, that's like 20 hours on a plane. That's taking up precious time that I could be drinking beer and having a good old time. Shit, man, that's tough.
It is a tough question.
I like what you guys said. I'll just do everything. I'll just get fat and smoke a lot of weed and drink a lot of beer and invite my friends over and just rack up a shit ton of debt on credit cards and just enjoy life.
Right.
And
Amazon
fuck
Prime.
out. Oh,
every
Prime,
day.
everything. Everything.
Yeah. Be at your door the next day.
Yes.
Why not?
Yep. We brew a couple of beers too and take some pictures and hopefully people can live off of that shit. Like, oh, this dead photographer. That's my shit.
We'll burn you in effigy every year at Burning Man.
Oh, dude, I saw this guy. He was a singer in some kind of hardcore punk rock band, and he had a legit Viking funeral. Like, legit. Had
Oh, Guar.
Guar. Oh, was it Guar?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Really?
that
Yeah.
dude, full-on Viking boat, sent out into the river, the lake, wherever they were, set it on fire. It was, like,
That's cool.
awesome. I'm like, I want to go down like that. I mean, I want to be cremated anyways. Might as well do it in style, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be
There's,
sick.
There's a
remember that.
a book that I grew up with. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
have you guys heard of Beau Geste?
No, what's that?
It's an old book. It was written back in the
Is that the title of it?
Beau Geste. Yeah.
Beau Geste?
Written back in the 20s, I think, maybe even before that, maybe around the turn of the century,
Mhm.
sometime between 1900 and 1920. But it's about the French Foreign Legion, and it's about these three English brothers who, to avoid a scandal back in England, they all enlist in the French Foreign Legion.
Ah, okay.
And as they're growing up, a friend of the family is an officer in the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
And so he tells them about this and that, and they make a pact as children to like give each other a Viking funeral if they ever die. And they're very, very close, very closely knit. And as the book, it's a very, very well written book. It's one of my favorites. There actually is a kind of an improvised Viking funeral, like in the book, that involves like one of them torching an entire fort with his brother inside,
Oh, okay.
and, under very strange
Wow.
circumstances. And
Oh, I
it's,
see.
It's really, really cool. But ever since then, because I grew up with it, I've always kind of wanted a Viking funeral
Mhm.
myself,
I
of one
see.
kind or another.
Yeah.
It has this weird, nostalgic, romantic quality to it. For
Right.
me personally, that's
Yeah, there's a much better ceremony behind it than, like, watching a casket get lowered into the ground
Yeah.
and people weeping or whatever. Just, I want a big party and, like, shove my
Yeah.
body off and burn it
Yeah.
in a river or a lake or
Yeah.
somewhere. And,
a river.
I don't know, whatever.
I like it. I mean, it's just like
Just have my body float
shoot
down.
it before their current takes it away.
Sean's like, make sure it's the Amazon. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Now we have to like fly him down. I can charter some boats.
There was a lot of snowmelt this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, just if there's like a really cool ceremony behind it, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's something about,
Yep.
I mean, I'm not trying to get too critical of traditional burials or whatever, but I think, when I think about it, it's like an attachment to like a permanent idea. This person's like always here, they're
Yep.
always in the ground, and you can always go visit them. My mom, not to get too dark into this, but she's always said she wants to be cremated. And forever I had like a hard time with that because I'm like, I don't want to do that to you, the idea and everything. But the more as I get older, you almost, when you are buried somewhere, you are almost setting some people up for obligation of like, you need to come and pay your reverence to this place and this
That's true.
little statue or whatever in your place. And
Yeah.
and if you are cremated or you're doing something like that, you are almost setting them back into like the earth from which they came, and I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's something I would want too. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to go anywhere and honor me. You could, if you think about me, then there you
That's
are.
the honoring is right
And-
there.
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking about me, and,
Yeah.
and there's some reverence in that. So,
Oh, yeah.
It's like honor the memory as opposed to something tangible buried
Right.
in the ground.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen those things? I forget what it's called, but it's like this. It's this big cylinder. It's an urn basically, but it's made out of compostable material, and there's a chamber for the ashes, and then there's like a packet of nutrients placed on top of that. It's almost like the first, second, and third stage of a rocket, and then there's a tree seed topping everything, and then you bury
Okay.
that, and the tree will grow,
Sprouts.
incorporating the
Oh, I like that.
ashes,
I
all
like
the
that. That's
phosphorus and nitrogen and whatever that comes out of the ashes, and then so obviously the tree will grow, and you can come and sit beneath the tree or,
Right.
or whatever, and there's something
Yeah,
sort
from
of,
death comes life. You know,
Right.
why not? Yeah, that's
Kind of
awesome.
something rejuvenating about
I love that.
That is
yeah.
very cool.
That
is cool.
That's another
Yeah.
good option. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe
I'll mark that down
Yeah.
Do
in
that.
my will that I haven't made out.
Yeah.
I would like a Viking funeral. Take notes, guys. I would like a Viking funeral. and
It's
I
being
would like to
recorded
be-
now forever and
True,
infinity. It
true.
will be
Yeah,
known.
NSA will know.
Oh, they'll definitely know.
Uncle Sam, if you're listening.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
This guy's a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut it off. Shut it off. I would like a Viking funeral. I would like to be dressed like Batman at the time. And,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Talk about an awkward conversation with the optician.
You want us to do what?
Just put him in the suit. Yeah.
It's what I want.
Now,
I laugh if you
we're
want.
like worst case scenario. We're gonna have to approach your parents and tell them
Yeah.
what you want.
Look, listen to the podcast. This is what he wanted.
Yeah.
Seriously, we have to. My mom will think it's funny. She'll be like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And my dad will be like, well,
How much does that cost?
you know, if that's what he wanted. I suppose.
Yeah.
And
All right, so we have another game that we like to play on the podcast.
Okay.
It's called Would You Rather.
All right.
I'm sure you would have come across a couple of these Would You Rathers in the past.
let's go.
But yeah, this one we've been doing on the last couple of podcasts. I think it's kind of a neat one.
Okay.
All right, so would you rather spend 1 year, 100 years in the past, so 1914, or 1 year, 100 years in the future, so 2114? So you're there for 1 year. After 1 year, you automatically come back to our time right now.
Okay.
But yeah, you could spend 1 year either in 2114 or 1914.
Wow, that's a difficult question.
I know, because it's like you don't know where we're going in the future. Who knows
Exactly,
what it's
I
going to
mean-
be like? Is it going to be crazy? Is it going to be awesome?
I almost feel like I lack sufficient information to make that decision,
Mm.
only because the future is involved. Loving science fiction as I do personally,
Right.
I think that I would almost go with 2114.
Just out of curiosity, see.
Not that 1914 would not be fascinating and interesting. I mean, that's the year the Great War started. That's
Yep.
any number of things happened back then. But I would like to see the future. I'd like to see where we're going.
Right.
I think.
Absolutely.
I would have to go with the future.
Yeah.
2114.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Every time you pose this question, I feel like I bounce to the other answer.
I know,
'Cause
yeah,
I
yeah.
always answer 1914.
Yeah.
But now that I've heard so many times, and then I feel like, I mean, even though history is documented and we know stuff about it, experiencing it would be a whole nother ballgame.
Oh, yeah.
But you have almost a leg up on the past, and the future is completely new.
Foreign, completely new. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So for this podcast, I go to the future.
Future.
Oh yeah.
To the future. All right. Let's do. Hold on. Let me look for a couple Would You Rather's different ones. So continue on.
You had Tower 7 written in that? What
I
is
did.
that? I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Tower
I'm not
7
familiar
is
with
from
that.
9/11?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so on 9/11, we know the two main buildings, Tower 1 and Tower 2, went down. And then there was also pretty crazy footage of Tower 7 falling about 5 or 6 hours later after the two towers already had fallen.
What's Tower 7?
In Tower 7, it's right there in the same vicinity of the whole World Trade Center area.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
One of the
and,
smaller auxiliary buildings, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not as tall. It's probably like a 40-something story building. But a lot of key government officials had like offices within that building, and a lot of speculation to, the whole way that it actually came down. Because if you watch footage of Tower 7 going down, it looks eerily close to a building that's been designed
Like a planned
to be
demolition.
demolished.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
planned demolition.
I see.
So if you watch it, it looks like it is falling within its footprint. No planes hit this. There was a little bit of damage from the two buildings falling, so, concrete's flying and, smashing into the building. But nothing that would have really have caused it to fall the way that it did, directly into its own footprint. And so that's like, in the 9/11 conspiracy, or, the speculation of really what happened on that day, a lot of people look towards Tower 7 as, this didn't go down the way a building would have went down with the damage that had occurred. But yeah, I would say look up Tower 7, just YouTube the video. You're going to probably come up with a lot of like conspiracy videos or whatever, but just watch the footage and just see what you think. Like, it's very odd the way it comes down. Like, so a lot of people are using that as like a big red flag when it comes to
Conspiracy
the events
theories.
that happened on that day.
Oh, okay.
And looking at it, you're like, yeah, that looks just like any other planned demolition that has occurred that you watch on YouTube. And they'll have plenty of videos out there that'll have like a splice between one building that was designed to be demolished, goes down just like Tower 7 goes down. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not an architect. I'm not an engineer, so I really don't know if buildings can come down like that. But a lot of firsts happened on that day. No plane has ever, or no building has ever gone down the way that they described it going down, with the fires of the fuel that supposedly burned the steel enough to make the pancake effect go down on the towers. So I don't know. Just look into it. It's fascinating. It makes me think that it didn't really go down the way that they say it went down. Who knows? I don't know. It's all up in the air.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I'm leaning towards it being shenanigans, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, shit definitely happened that day. It's kind of unfortunate. All right, here's a good would you rather. All right, would you rather have a rewind button on your life or a pause button? So the movie Click with Adam Sandler. So yeah, say you had a remote control and you can either pause anytime you wanted to, or rewind anytime you wanted to. Pause.
Yeah.
And why would you want to pause? Just to like live in that moment for a second, or just to experience it, let it sink in, or
I don't know. I
just
mean,
be cool?
there's a certain attraction to the rewind button.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, oh hey, I can go back and redo this. But then, I mean, getting when you get right down to it, a lot of what has happened and much of who I am,
it's because of the past.
Because of where I've been.
So why would you want to go back and really change?
You go back. I mean, yeah, you don't know what you're going to change.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
And with the pause button, you can kind of sit and think about things and, I guess, eliminate mistakes before they happen. Hypothetically.
Right.
And again, from a personal standpoint, a lot of times I find myself in conversation, or if I'm trying to write something, or just about in any kind of interaction that I may have with anybody or anything. A lot of times, a lot of people say, like, they just say the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, right.
There's no filter, there's no thought process, really.
Yeah.
Like, you're just conversing, Somebody says something, that elicits a response, and you say something. But me, a lot of times I'll come up like that with, like, 4 different things. And then that places me in something of an awkward position, because then I have to kind of go through my head as quickly as possible. Okay, do I like this one, or should I phrase it like that?
Right.
Or do I want to say this, or what would be the ramifications of saying that, potentially? And it's really, really irritating.
Yeah.
Because I don't mean to be that guy, but it just happens because I'm constantly doing that.
Right.
And so to have a pause button would be like a godsend. I could just click the pause button and be like, okay, now I have a second. Now I can give this some proper thought instead of being forced, under the pressure of normal everyday conversation to just, yes.
Right.
You know what? I think that's what drives you
That's a good
towards
point.
being like a writer. You know, you have time to think and develop what you want to portray on the page or the story, whatever you're trying to convey.
That's why
you
writing
can
is
go
much
back
easier.
there and change
Yeah,
shit. It's not
exactly.
like, all right, I said it, now it's done. I can't go back and
Exactly.
edit it. Or,
That's why I
or
personally
modify
like
it, yeah.
I like written communication. As,
Yeah.
Much more so than verbal communication.
Right? Yeah.
Nothing
yeah.
against verbal communication,
no,
obviously,
no,
and
yeah.
I don't want to sound too strange and obscure in this way, but
No,
I like
it's that Virgo in you, man.
I like having the opportunity to phrase something and then alter it if I wish, as
Mhm.
opposed to. But once you've said something, you can't really take it back
Yep.
without looking totally awkward. So pause button for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a good take on the pause button. I've always said pause more of a from like a physical world of like, well, I pause this right now and then I go and I explore everything
Yeah,
in
yeah.
pause mode and
Yep.
just see it and take it in while like I'm the only, it's like your own world pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And then go back to whatever you were doing.
Exactly.
But that's a good point.
Oh yeah, great point. Absolutely. All right. Would you rather have no family or no friends?
That's a toughie.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it is.
Well, I consider the vast majority of my friends to be like extended family.
Yeah.
So to
Yep.
me, they're sort of one and the same. I don't have one. I essentially don't have the other.
Yeah.
So and I'm not terribly close to my biological family. Either.
Yeah.
You know, mom and dad, if you're listening, I love you. Don't get me wrong,
Don't worry,
but
it's the same thing.
my mom's
Love
like,
you, Mom,
yeah,
love
you
you,
know,
Dad.
I'm still thinking about that tarantula.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that pot.
I'm reliving it.
That pot
Yeah,
thrown
yeah.
over your
I
head.
just wish I could have
Just happened
connected.
to miss you.
Man.
But, yeah, I mean, for me, that's a really if you really want to draw the distinction, draw the line. I honestly don't know.
Well, I think I made this point last time I brought this up a few podcasts ago. It was like your family makes you who you are to a certain point, but then you start gathering your friends, and then your friends start to help you along the way. Then you start to feed off of your friends, and your friends feed off of you, and then it's less of your family. I don't know. I know some people are very close to their families, and that's like their family is their
Yeah.
life.
It's the core component.
I'm not like that though. So my
Yeah.
friends are my life. There are my closest family.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would go with friends. Matt Whitney, I think you friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Thank God.
But it's a blurred line. Because
Very blurred,
I do,
yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. I think of my friends as family.
Yeah.
I would do the same for them as I would my immediate family.
Exactly.
But then at counterpoint, you know, I should say siblings. They are my friends just as much as they are my siblings. And in some people you talk to, they're not. You know, they have siblings, but they're not that close. And then there's like a difference of relationships. But like in my personal life, my siblings are my friends, and they're like my good friends. So, you know, you draw the lines. somewhere,
Exactly.
but-
Not a very distinct line. I think.
Exactly.
Probably for a lot of people, I would imagine.
Yeah, especially like being like in our late 20s. You
Yeah.
know, like you really come to appreciate your friends
I think so.
and things like that, and it all becomes like one cluster of friends, family, bloodlines. Like these are just people that are important to me. So,
Exactly. One real world network.
yeah, pretty much.
All right, so I'm gonna do one more. This is kind of a classic one. I'm gonna modify it just a little bit because why not? Fuck it.
Does it have to do with pie?
No, it doesn't. All right,
Jason's like, I'm out.
I'm
have no
done.
opinion.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna set this one out. I'll see you guys later.
I have no opinion.
All right, so this will be our last would you rather. All right, would you rather shit out 40,000 gallons of mayonnaise or one mayonnaise jar?
I like the change you made.
Yeah, I think it's better. The expression on Jason's face, like, is he really asking me this?
What a disturbing question.
No.
Compared to the
I
last
know.
few, too.
I can't-
Like,
I know.
that's the lead-in.
Friends and family, who would you choose? And then it switches directly to shitting out mayonnaise.
40,000
The
gallons.
content or the container. Good lord, I don't know, man.
Well, while he mulls it over, give him the original.
The original was 40,000 gallons of mayonnaise or one Ninja Star.
Ninja Star, wow. Ooh.
I know I said it like it'd be easier to see.
Yes.
I know, right? Yeah.
I was deceived. Yeah, at least the glass jar is smooth.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's a good
You're
point.
going to get ripped up with that Ninja Star.
Yeah, the Ninja Star.
That's for
and,
sure.
and really, how did it get that far in your GI tract that to begin with?
I don't know. Do some crazy shit.
In through the exit door.
Right?
Yes, somebody called the Jackass crew.
Yeah.
How big of a managed jar? Are we talking
Costco size.
Costco size?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know.
64 ounces.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's possible to do safely. So I'd have to go with the 40,000 gallons.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick and easy.
Yeah, I think even
Well,
in both situations,
Smoother ride.
I was gonna, maybe not quick, but certainly
Smoother
easier.
ride.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
more
A lot
time
of
consuming, obviously, but make less painful. overall.
Way less painful.
And what's Sequoia
Less
say?
surgery,
She said,
I'm
like,
assuming, involved.
she said after you shit out a Ninja Star, it'd be that much easier to shit out 4,000 gallons.
Yeah. That's one way to lead off. God, that's like... You know that you've partied too hard if that's what's going on.
Oh, yeah. The doctor's like, you have a 64-ounce mayonnaise jar in your colon right now. What happened?
I don't know. It's all a blur.
Don't know.
Last thing I remember, I was in Vegas, I think.
Right.
Worse. I was in State Line.
Right. What's the casino there?
Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills, yeah.
Some Pete's.
Yup.
Well, on that note,
Well,
good
okay.
podcast.
I know. I've got one more thing, and I just
Go.
want to see.
Go for it.
Yep. I got some quick to play. Hopefully, it'll pick up on the audio. I'm going to ask you guys what you think this is.
It's, something boiling.
All right, I'll stop it there. Guesses.
Was it transitioned in the middle of it? So is it the same
It's
thing?
all the same
just-
thing, just different. I don't want to say, but
Okay.
The first one sounded to me like some kind of.
it's all the same. It's all
Okay.
one.
Well,
thing.
there were two very distinct sounds.
Yeah,
though.
very different
But it
sounds.
was fluid. The sound, or was it two different sound bites?
It's two different sound bites connected,
Okay.
but connected to the same thing.
Same circumstance.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, the first one sounded to me like some kind of rusty winch or like pulley system
Mm-hmm.
being slowly either let out or drawn in.
Right,
And then
right.
The second one sounded almost like noise created by like a strong wind against a microphone or something. So I'm thinking like a ship at sea
Okay.
or something like a trawler calling in a
okay.
net or something like that.
I like that. That's a good guess. Neat.
I don't know.
Neat.
Sounded like internet dating, didn't it?
Yeah.
Sound like a guy shitting out 40,000 gallons of mayonnaise.
I don't know. It sounded. I got like. I don't know why I got like a boiling. Something boiling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
That's your guess?
Yep.
That, my friends, is the sound of space.
Really?
Yep. These are NASA. They have, I don't know how they're getting the audio, but they're picking up with their big ass little satellites. You know, Jodie Foster. What was that? First Contact or Contact?
Contact,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. They get they have those big satellite dishes. I guess
so
they're
it's like radio.
radio waves and
something
stuff. I don't know if
like
it's bouncing off of the galaxies, the stars. I don't know if it's explosions in space, and that's like the signals that they're picking up. I don't know, but
Wow.
it's the sound of space.
Extraterrestrial shooting out.
Actually, yeah, exactly. Extraterrestrials out there.
Wow, that was interesting.
for you.
That was interesting, actually.
Yeah, YouTube it. Check it out. There's a bunch of different clips on sounds of space. It's pretty fascinating. Yeah,
Sweet.
it's trippy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Trippy,
All right.
trippy. First off, we want to thank Jason, man.
Thank
you
you.
fucking kicked ass. Home run, man. This is a good podcast.
Well, thank you guys.
Hell yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
No,
seriously,
we will definitely have
seriously.
you on again.
Thank you very much.
I'll come up with 10 different questions. You come up with
Okay.
10 questions, and Matt will come up with 10
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah,
and
we should do
we will just get to know each other.
Yeah, when you come on next, at least bring 10 questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's your mission.
You can bring anything you want to the table too. I mean,
Okay.
we're totally open to do anything and everything on this podcast. So
Now that I kind of know what to expect,
yeah, exactly. You know, it's real laid back, just kind of shooting the shit, having a good conversation. You know, maybe mix it up a little bit with would you rather's or just whatever, and
Cool.
that's kind of what the podcast is all about. Just kind of having our friends on, having a good time, talking about what's going on in our lives and in life in general. So that's
I
kind of
like it.
what it's about. Yeah.
I like it. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
All right.
Oh, thank you. And so, yeah, we're going to go out and get some sushi in North Park and celebrate Jason's birthday. And never forget, right?
My birthday.
Never forget Jason's birthday. I will never forget it. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we have sushi to eat and
Yeah.
hot sake to drink. Yes?
Yes.
So I suggest, gentlemen, that we get to it.
Let's
All right.
do it. Baba Booey,
All right.
Baba Booey.
Baba
9/11 was an inside job.